Yeah, that should be solid.
Blooper.
All right.
Yeah.
Yo, what's good? All right, how should we start it? All right. Welcome to College Foundry, guys. So I'm chilling here with the homie
Eliot, how you guys doing?
Eliot Robinson at Eliot. Follow.
Yeah.
At Dunk. Follow. So we're here to chat with him and get some insight on what it's like to work in the media industry, how you can get a start, be able to learn some skills for yourself that might be useful.
Let's get right to the questions.
All right, let's do it. Let's get it.
Yes.
So how do you get started in media, and what would you say is the best way to get started now?
I think it's tough for me to answer because I stumbled into it. I was always into video editing, so when I was younger, I'd make video edits of like Call of Duty edits, and I put them on YouTube, so I was always in that kind of realm and world. Then I got into Instagram I stumbled upon it by accident, but if I were you, I'd figure out what are you good at. Is it music? Is it video editing? Is it fucking taking pictures? Is it writing long, funny captions? Is it making memes? Whatever it is, like try a bunch of shit. What do you find the most fun? And then post it on as many mediums as possible, because that's how you get in, quote unquote, the media business. That's like the learn side. The other side is get an internship with someone and just like say, hey, I'd love to learn from you. I'd love to work for you, do this and that, with like a Gary of the world, a Ryan Serhant of the world. Like, I'll help you out, whatever you need, I'll do it. That's another way. The third way is the traditional route, which is school. Go fucking study marketing and advertising and this and that, get a job at McKinsey, whatever all these firms are called. So I'd say there's those three routes, and the fourth route is maybe you shouldn't be in it at all.
Yeah.
Maybe that's just a fact. Or start a podcast and like put it out. Try and get, I would say, as much as possible, try and get your thoughts out. And if you don't know what your thoughts is, try and get someone else's thoughts out and help them to do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I think that's a good way of saying it. I always say that it's always better to focus on what you're good at rather than focus on what you like, because the things you like change over time.
Yes.
But if you're really good at something naturally, then you'll want to stick with it over time. So whether it be music, media, video editing, right? I think that you'll be able to get a much further career path accomplished if you just know what you can stick to. And generally being good at something will allow you to stick to it. So let me ask you, so how did you, do you want to talk about like the Gary thing at all?
I don't care. If you're wondering how to get in contact with bigger people, it's just hitting them from as many angles as possible. You just have to find whoever it is. If you want to work for fucking Madonna, if you want to work for Akon, if you want to work for T-Pain, if you want to work for McKinsey, find out where their interest points are and what they're bad at. Tell them what they're bad at and how you can fix it. And then you just have to get in touch with the right people surrounding them. If they're big enough, you just find, all right, who's Akon's manager? Who's Akon's former manager? Oh, that's Gaby. Oh, all right, let me get in contact with him. He'll introduce me. So you just got to find out what they're bad at and how you could help that, and then find people around them.
I call that the most accessible link.
Yes.
Within like
lowest
a whole
common denominator. Like, well,
yeah. I wouldn't even say lowest common denominator. It doesn't have to be somebody that's the, in my view, it doesn't have to be somebody that's low down in the scale. They just have to be somebody that's really accessible, right? Yes. So it was easier for me to get to Ryan Serhant than it was to get to Joey.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter who you are, what you're doing. It's just a matter of being able to find...
What's the easiest way and most efficient way of getting to it.
Yeah. Do you think that if somebody is not as good at something, but they really like it, they really care about it, what should they do? I've always thought that it's best if a person realizes the realities of the situation and knows that they can't be, let's say, if they want to be a rapper, if you can't be the star, maybe be the writer. Maybe be the manager. Maybe figure out what your strengths are around the field that you like. What do you think is the best thing to do if you really just like a certain thing, but you're not the best at it?
Yeah, I mean, surround yourself where you're as close to that as possible, and if you really, really like it, you're going to get there one day. Like if you want to be a fucking rapper and you think it's fun, well, surround yourself with better rappers and you'll level up to their level. Like, you could go the route of being a producer, an engineer, and you get in the studio, and then you exchange a beat for a verse from someone, and then you make it, but like, just surround yourself within that industry or like that atmosphere.
What would you say is the best way for somebody, let's say they do have the talent and they, put in the effort and everything, what's the best way for them to be able to accumulate their work in a entertaining and unconventional way where it'll get somebody's attention? And what would you say is the best way for them to be able to distribute it out in the modern day, right? So let's say I am a really good writer, yes, or a really good video editor, or whatever it may be. Is it better if I'm a student and I'm doing this, yeah, to try and make my own videos, or is it better to go learn from somebody else first?
I think it's a case by case basis. Obviously, learning from someone else, you can get shortcuts. You won't do the mistakes that you did for them. Blah blah blah. It all depends. Just, I don't know. Fucking try both. I would also say, like, how do you separate yourself? And you say, how do you accumulate as much as possible in a creative way? I would say the biggest thing, look at what other people who are doing it well are doing, and just try to replicate it with your own spin on it, right? Mm-hmm. So look at what this guy is doing and rapping. Oh, he's doing that. Let me try that. Oh, it worked. Oh, I saw a Facebook ad that caught my attention. I saw an Instagram ad that caught my attention. All right, what caught my attention? Break it down. Like, all right, let me try and recreate my own thing of that. Boom, boom, boom. You try it, test it out. Like, you're never gonna fucking know until you at least test it out, right?
And
that's
so
what I would say.
With this level of uncertainty in the world, with being able to become successful with something, what's your views on college and its relation to a field like media, yeah, where there is that level of risk, right? Do you think that going to a school and sitting down and speaking with a professor, whether it be NYU or Stony Brook, or, you know, if it's a nobody school, it's a mid-sized school, it's a big school, whatever it may be, do you think that a college is equipped to teach skills for this type of industry? Or that the information is outdated and you actually have a competitive advantage by trying yourself?
I mean, I haven't been. I've heard that all the best schools and their marketing materials are super outdated. I think you learn other skills in college, like how the fuck you show up on time, responsibility, like, it's all relative. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't like the fact that people go and you were telling me the 40% fucking, what was it called? The
default rate.
Default rate, the 40% default rate, almost half of everyone as a student. Like, I don't like that.
Yeah.
I'm from Sweden, so, like, we can go to college, fuck around for 4 years. We pay enormous taxes, but it's free. We get paid to go to college. So I like going that route. I would say I kind of wish I went to college for a year. Last year I wish I went to college, mm-hmm, and then this year I'm like, no, there's no way. I didn't. Like, you'll never know.
Yeah.
I think
you should have to make a decision and just see what happens.
I think I think we spoke about it before, but, like, I do think it's a place where you can have fun with 40,000 other individuals who you would have never fucking met otherwise, and it's like a vacation that might cost you money. If you can afford that vacation, you should go meet some people. My dad said he had the greatest life experience in his life at Stanford. Like, Mazel tov. You meet a lot of people. Like, that's a way in. You met someone in school who ends up working there, and like, oh,
Amanda's my business partner because I met her at university.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, like, I think there's no other way where you kind of, like, naturally connect with people. What we're doing now, we're in the studio. Like, it takes more effort to connect with people on this because it's not like
it's not expected. Yeah,
it's not organically brought together. Mm-hmm. And I think school's that's what I always say. I think school's a great thing for just that. You might, like, you never know what happens there.
I personally agree with that very strongly, and that socializing is one of the most important aspects of college, and that people are the return on college.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm curious as to what you think about this. Couldn't you technically, like,
you could
go to something like Coachella and be able to bankrupt yourself on it at least?
Yeah.
Instead of being in an unbankruptable student loan situation?
Yeah, sure. Fucking, I want to see someone do, like, my college experience, which is going to 100 different EDM festivals, Coachellas, and see, like, is it just exhausting? Do you meet people? Does it feel organic? Like, do you get the hang of it after 100 days, after 100 festivals? Like, I'd love, that's good. You should do.
We're doing a video where we're going to talk about all the things you can buy. So it's going to be like, you can buy like a bajillion packs of gum. You can buy this many bagels. You can buy
get people on the streets and talk to them.
And we're doing
that's a great series. What could you buy for the amount of money you spend in college?
Yeah.
500,000 gum packs. Give it to one stranger every day and you say, hey, how's your day going? What's up? My name's I'm doing this experience. Yeah. Like, listen, fucking, it's what you make it. Like,
that's
college easy.
College is what you make it.
Yeah. I mean, I haven't been, so, but yeah.
Well, no, even if you haven't been, I think you have an understanding of what it is, mm-hmm, and the upside versus downside. So you tell me this: do you think that college is necessary, and what are your views on college in regards to not going and just being able to work and be ahead of many other people?
I mean, life of school, all that bullshit, but I think college is a good concept in theory. Like, you go and you learn shit that, like, if you learn what you learn in the real life in college, yeah, it works. it's like all the structure surrounding that that's fucked up. Like you're saying, like the textbooks are outdated. The professors are selling their own textbooks. They might not be the best ones.
If you can't afford a book, you're forced to buy the course codes now. They get you at every corner.
Exactly. Yeah. That's the problem. That maybe is because it's not fucking, what's it called? Institutionalized?
Governmentalized. It's not federal. Yeah.
Like maybe that's but.
Well, all the debt assets are held by the government.
Yeah.
All the debt assets are held by the government, which is the most messed up part of my opinion.
Yeah.
Like, I think what was I gonna say? My thought is this.
Yeah.
College in theory is supposed to be very useful, and it should be, right?
Well, so
it's just a matter of it,
right?
Yeah, but communism, you can intrinsically look at the underlying principles of it and realize that it's not a motivator.
Yeah.
People will sit there and be like, all right, whatever. But college, in theory, is supposed to be a place you go, you work hard, the effort you put in is the effort, is the return you get out.
Yeah.
And I think that still holds, but...
Let me ask you, what do you think we need to fix? I think to fix college, you need to fix the professors.
I don't think it's the professors. I think the professors go there and they work really hard. I think it's the system being a business. They take out institutional debt to be able to build buildings and be able to, convince kids by dumb things. Like they build resorts so the kids go to the resort because that's all they think about. Mm-hmm. But you're a child. You don't understand what you're signing up for. Mm-hmm. And essentially you're being trusted to... handle $100,000 decisions before you've ever made a salary. Yeah. So how are you supposed to know, right? And a lot of kids, they come out of college, they think, oh, well, I can go to school and make... One of my clients, word for word, said this to me. I'm going to be a doctor. I'm going to go to school and I'm going to be a plastic surgeon and make $300,000 a year. I don't care if it costs me $300,000 to go to school. Yeah. But that's undergrad only. And then a grad degree for a doctorate after interest can become $1 million very quickly.
That's crazy.
So these are the things. I think that we get saddled with a lot of... You're crippling the generation that's supposed to be getting furthest ahead off the bat with all the debt. Yep. It's unbankruptable. I think that the system needs to be this. There needs to be universities that aren't based on business, they're actually based on education.
I agree.
And that's the difficult part of it. How can you finance something like that? I think that the government's allowed everybody to be able to take out a loan, and it's a federal asset. And as a result, what's happening now is the universities are just taking advantage of that. It's easy money for them, and it's government-backed. And you're stuck paying it. So I think that you need to vote in better representatives that will lobby in favor of that. I think that the universities need to realize that it needs to be about education and not ego. It's all about ego and what's the brand of the school. But eventually, like the house of cards is going to fall, and people are going to realize this is a ruse. You can get a lot of the
TV series. It's going to fall down.
In an economy like this, what do you think the best thing to do is? So you've lived on your own in New York, right?
Yes.
What's the best thing to do when you're getting out of college, which would be the equivalent of getting into the real world and working, right? What's the best thing to do? What are costs that you need to account for? What are real things that matter in life? What are the real life experiences that you've had since you've gotten out of school? And now you have to take care of yourself.
Yeah, I'll give you my experience. Like making money isn't hard. It's like, how do you make sure it's legal? Literally, like I get all your fucking accounting shit in order. Start your fucking business, start expensing shit. I was the worst for this for a year. I was making money. I was making $1,000 from there, $5,000 from there, $10,000 from there, $7,000 from there, and I wasn't accounting for any of it. Like when taxes came, I was like, I'm fucked.
Yeah.
Literally, and I filed an extension, this and that, but make sure all the legal shit's out. That's step number one, and I can't tell you guys what to do. It might be, go get a job, get a sustainable income. I've never had anything that's like, are you getting $7,000 a month, $7,000, boom, 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 and then at the end of the year, I had that once, but like,
not for long.
No, not for long. I'm like, get your shit in order because then you can start doing whatever the fuck you like, and there's gonna be costs for clothes, food, all of that. Like, it's different. It depends on who you are as a person and what your interests are. But biggest thing, like, don't live. My boy said, like, never spend more than you make, and it's
that's the basis,
a simple thing, but
it's so hard. It's simple, but it's so difficult, and a lot of people just don't think about it. And college debt in itself is one of those situations where you're automatically spending more than you're making. And what I always found interesting was, you tell me what you think of this. Here's a scenario. People think that it's okay to spend $100,000 on school because it's just been so normalized, because they want to get a good job and have a future. But they won't spend $5,000 learning the stock market, which is the basis of your retirement. for a lot of people.
Yes.
What's your views on things like that? Do you think that people need to kind of wake up to this and realize that, you know, there's a better reality out there for them?
It's just consumer behaviors. I say the same for social platforms. Like, why aren't people buying stuff on Instagram yet? Because they're not used to it.
Yeah.
And that's what you say. Like, how do you make it widespread? Well, you get a social influencer to say this is okay, or you get the schools to introduce it. Like, how do you get people to realize it more quickly? And how does it get? You answered it when you asked it. It's, how is it? How does it get normalized?
Awareness.
Yeah.
Awareness. What's the best way to link up with people your own age?
Go to events that you think that they'll be at, and you'll either be right or you'll be wrong. Events. I don't like the concept of hanging out around a school and doing this. Like, go to events that make sense. You use fucking Google, hit someone up on Instagram. That's what you do. Instagram DM, LinkedIn, InMail, and just events, and surround yourself with the people because they'll introduce you to someone. Blah, blah, blah.
If you could go back and have the choice of going to college, necessarily knowing what you know about debt, would you go back and do it? Definitely not?
No.
No way?
No.
And do you think that you can get more out of life without experiencing that debt?
Yes.
What would be your best advice for a student right now that is debating what they need to do? And I personally think that you should go to college, and it's good if you know how to properly use it, we can help you do that.
People don't.
But
that's why they need you. That's how you should end it. I'm serious. Like, the question, I know where you're going, but like, that's why they need you, because they need you to understand how to utilize college. And if you don't, you're throwing money away.
And that's one of the things I think about.
And then it holds you back the rest of your life because you're like, oh, I have this college debt. You can't get fucking out of it.
You can't start your own business. Exactly. You can't, you can't go to you can't go out to a concert because you got to do your car payment, and because you have student loans, and that's $500 a month.
That's why you need
it. So now I want to ask this. This is the last thing that we're gonna ask. Okay.
So, I'm gonna ask me, what's a question you would ask any person in the world? Comment below your answer. What's a question you'd ask anybody in the world about how to make college different? Like, what would you change about college?
All right, so comment below. And again, thank you so much for your time, my man. Really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Again, shout out Eliot, shout out at Dunk. Check it out on Instagram.
That's crazy in a good way, in the best way. All right, bro. Thank you so much.
Thank you.